Hi everybody, it's Michelle with RVHeroGypsy, and today I am so blessed to be interviewing two female veterans, Janice and Candy, and believe it or not, they're mother and daughter. And I visited East Rochester today to sit with them. They're in the HeroMobile, and I want to tell you, I met Janice about 5 years ago. I was bringing lunch to a very special veteran friend of mine at his work, and we don't really want to talk about our special veteran because he has recently passed, and we're not really willing to talk about it right now because we're both going to start crying, but I'm good. I brought him lunch at his work, and I asked if there were any other veterans there that I could feed lunch, and Janice was one of them. So we've been great friends since, and we follow each other on social media. And so I thought it would be a great idea today to interview two female veterans, and I told them this is raw footage, there's no editing, and I would like them to speak as to what they'd like to speak about to the public. As you know, I'm raising awareness for what our veterans have done for us and what our military are still doing for us. So I'm going to open the floor to Janice first, and they have some really interesting things to tell you. Okay, Janice.
Hi. So I spent 8 years in the Army. I made it up to specialist. It was an up and down experience. I absolutely loved it most days, but some days were hard. I picked a job as a construction equipment mechanic, which my mom warned me was not going to be easy. But I took the challenge, and I liked the challenge. It was an excellent experience being able to get up on these huge trucks. One of the trucks I worked on, the tire was
bigger than
it was 3 people tall.
Wow.
Yeah. And, the tire itself was giant. The tire was the size of your mobile. And to be able to get up in that, because you really had to climb and to get in that engine, and it was really rewarding. And the friends I made, I will never forget. I have people that I talk to that are stationed in Germany and Japan. I really didn't get to travel outside of the country, but I definitely got to travel around the country. I've been to California, Wisconsin. Even though I raised a little bit in Texas, I've been to 4 different parts of Texas. Wisconsin more than I want to admit I've been there. I've been to the Carolinas, to Mississippi, just all over. Actually, within the military, I was able to mark off 32 states just in travel.
Excellent.
I don't think I got that far.
Yeah. And that doesn't include just staying. That's traveling through, doing convoys through. I was lucky enough to get to be my first sergeant's driver. So I got to do different things. The one thing, though, I really want to talk about is something that a lot of people don't like to talk about. I had just gotten back from AIT, which is the training for your job skill. It was my first drill weekend back. Though I was underage, I was drinking, and another soldier took advantage of me. And at the time, we didn't have this amazing program, SHARP. We didn't have the SHARPS program.
What's SHARPS? Can you tell everybody what SHARPS is?
I don't remember the acronym, but it's you have people, and back when I was when you went to report it, you went to your commander. And your commander decided, based on his discretion, if he was going to go forward with it or not. With the SHARPS program, it eliminates, so you can either have it as a sealed report or an unsealed report. So unsealed means there's police, it's open, people know about it. Sealed report means it only goes up a certain chain. It is not in the commander's hands. There is actually a SHARPS person assigned to this, and it only goes up through them. So it goes up that channel, and your unit is left kind of out of it. What was happening before is, like me, I was treated like, oh, you were a drunk slut. I was brushed off. Now it's taken as, this happened to you, we're going to file a report, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Instead of looking at, oh, well, this could ruin his military career. He just ruined my life. I struggle with PTSD, and it followed me my entire career because this happened right at the beginning of my military career. I worked as a mechanic where I was one of 3 females, or the only female. I wanted nothing more than to deploy. I joined to deploy. I told Mom I wanted to go overseas. I wanted to serve. And there was times I was terrified to be in the room with somebody because I didn't know them, or they gave me a weird vibe, or I just was jumpy. And the one thing that bothers me is that when I finally had the courage to report it, they wouldn't extradite him. And he got away with it. And this program that people are still so scared to talk about is helping people make sure that this isn't, that people can speak up and be safe about it. But I think people don't realize that just because I'm a female and I didn't go overseas, I never got deployed. I wanted to more than anything in the world. I was on volunteer rosters, a rolling volunteer roster. Never got selected. But just because I didn't go over there and say anything, and just because I'm not a male who, they expect to have, they mess with his head. I had something horrible happen to me where I had lost the ability to give consent. I was blackout drunk, but I still have nightmares. I still see it, and I get treatment. Mom has helped me get the right treatment. One of the things that's nice is she actually works in the psychiatric field, so she's able to help me find the right kind of help. But the part that hurts is that I don't think there's enough awareness for those people who got hurt, because it's like, oh, you didn't serve overseas, you're not a veteran. Do you know that technically, according to the VA, I'm not a veteran?
No. So does that mean you don't get the VA benefits?
Mm-hmm.
And with as many years as you served,
I
you
served
don't qualify?
8 years as a reservist, but because my time active duty-wise didn't tink up to the right amount, I don't qualify.
Yeah, because they only give you a certain amount of points for the reserve years, and so you have to get up to a certain amount. So I think you only equated to 2 years or under 2 years. Is that what it was?
I was like days short. I was like 17, 18 days short from being considered a veteran. I put on a uniform every day, even though I could have just been like, screw you after what happened to me, and I still put on a uniform every day, and I still worked my ass off, and I still tried to be a good soldier. But I think the big thing is, if you put on that uniform and you give part of your life to the military, we should be watching out for them too, because people don't realize what can happen in a year, 2 years, 3 years. When I joined the military, I looked at it as all my family's military. I didn't think I was going to be a stigma or a number. But I don't think people think about what it really means to give your life to your country. I love my uniform. I still have my uniform. I will always treasure it. But I just want people to be more open and aware about that just because you can't see the injury
Talk to them. Tell them that. This is why I'm here.
Just because you can't see the injury doesn't mean it's not there. I still wake up nights and think it's happening to me. My husband has had to hold my wrists and hold me so tight because I thought he was somebody he wasn't. I don't think that it's right that just because I was days short of their criteria of what a veteran is should turn me away from the health services. Sure, they offer me mental health. But when you look at mental health isn't just up here. Mental health is everything. And my mom, working in the mental health field, has shown me that. I go to a doctor who looks at...
So I work with mental health
Sorry.
patients, but I'm actually an adult nurse practitioner. So I'm on the medical side, so I don't want to give anybody the impression
I
I'm
know.
a psychiatrist or anything
Sorry.
like that. So.
But she has helped me see that because you work on the medical side of it, that it's not just the head. Your symptoms can be in muscle pain, and tiredness is actually a feeling. It's not just all up here, it's your body. And just offering a therapist to sit and ask you, how do you feel? We need to really be helping our veterans move and do things and being active and looking at them as a whole, not just what's wrong with their brain. And I want females to feel like that their nation's proud of them too. I shouldn't have to have a sticker on my car that says she served too, which somebody stole.
Mm.
But I used to have Army stickers on my car and my husband got thanked.
Mm.
Instead of them going, oh, which one of you served? Because she's had that question, which one of you served? And the answer's both. I just want...
And usually they're looking at my husband when they ask the question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want a country where we actually are proud and really want to keep our veterans safe. And I'm happy to have a family that supports me and has been there for me. If not, I may have been one of those homeless veterans.
Or worse.
Yeah.
Friends, listen. Please share this video. I have told you so many times, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist, I'm no professional. I'm just a civilian, I'm a mother of 2 veterans, but we can all make a difference. So make sure that you share this video with all of your friends. I truly appreciate it. And is there anything else you'd like to say before we talk to your mom?
I think I've made it clear what I hope for everybody. And I'm not trying to paint myself as a victim in this video. I just want people to be aware that this does happen. And also remember that it doesn't just happen to the female veterans. Male veterans are just as open to sexual assault as any of us. But be aware that just because you can't see the scars doesn't mean they're not there, and doesn't mean that we don't deserve love, respect, and help.
You need to pay attention. Candy,
Yes.
what would you like to tell us about yourself and about
Well,
your career?
I'm an Air Force veteran from the 80s. I stayed active duty after I was online or in line to go to the Air Force Academy. Through that, but my mom got very, very sick, and we weren't able to make it happen. So I went active duty to take care of her, and actually she became my dependent while I was on active duty because she couldn't support herself. So I was actually supporting her through that. She died soon after, so I don't think I was in the service more than 8 months before she died.
I was actually named after her.
That's right.
Oh.
I did name my daughter after her. And And I was in the Air Force, and I worked in predominantly male fields. I was first avionics technician on the F-15 aircraft at Langley Air Force Base. I loved that job. I very much loved that job. But I got hurt. I smashed my knee pretty decently, and I don't want to go into all the details of the accident, but and once we did the surgery on it, it was really hard for me to be underneath the aircraft anymore, and that was a big problem. So I got retrained. I retrained into the civil engineering, so I became an electrician, and actually then they trained me into the controls technician. I like this. I love this job. Fire alarms, security alarms, the traffic control lights, anything that had to do with any of that. Some of the HVAC or the air conditioning / heating systems. I got into all those kind of controls, and I like that. So it was kind of like being a Honeywell technician for Honeywell, Simplex. Those are all the kind of things I worked with.
Wow.
And truly enjoyed that too. But I tell you, it wasn't the challenge I really wanted. I discovered that those jobs were easy for me, but I was a girl. And that was that was the thing. I could do those things simply, but I was a girl. And so, so when Desert Shield started, I was actually pregnant with her. And so I was on the roster. So after she was born, because I was married to another active duty member, she actually went off to live with her grandparents, and she was only 6 weeks old. So and I didn't get to see her again until she was 9 months old. But we never deployed. Neither of us did. So we were on the rosters, but neither of us deployed. Now most of it was because by the time we were ready to deploy, because we got our 6 weeks after she was born, the air war had started, and they weren't taking as many folks over anymore. In fact, we were starting to bring folks home in the 90s. So. I actually never ended up deploying over, even though I was on the electrician list, and my ex-husband never deployed over either, at least during that phase of it. I think he went way later, but that was after you were home. So
Yeah.
But I truly enjoyed my time in the military, and actually was the next thing I had just applied for. I hadn't gotten it yet, but my package looked good to go to PA school. They had a PA school at Shepherd, so a physician's assistant school at Shepherd, and that was my next thing. Well, the military was too large, and we had the big drawdown in the 90s, and I got kind of caught up in that. I didn't take any of the early stuff like that, but a significant portion of the persons that had been injured early and would eventually go on to the VA rolls after they retired, they put them onto the VA rolls early, and they were pretty much discharged for the convenience of the Air Force. And I got caught up in that. So, but that gave me some benefits. So first of all, I'm a disabled veteran because I have a percentage. Then it also gave me retraining. So I qualified for a retraining program. So I did very well as far as that goes. And now I have a doctorate. I'm a doctor of nursing practice.
I'm so proud of her. Like, I missed out on so many things with my mom.
I'm
so proud of her.
I practice adult medicine, but I actually work in chemical dependency. So I do work with psychiatric patients. And before I did that, I did actually primary care with a practice that was worked with the practice strictly took patients with either an addiction problem or a psychiatric problem, because those are really hard patients. Those are underserved patients, it's another way to serve. And I love this. The challenges are the challenge of getting a patient who has certain ideas based on their psychiatric illness about their medical illnesses to get them to take medications, to follow your directives. It's a challenge, and when they finally come in and maybe their blood pressure is almost normal, you just cheer. It's kind of rewarding in that way.
It's like when she told me, your body aches aren't the flu, you've been depressed, you need to move around.
Yeah, and then then that led into because when I finished my doctorate, I actually did a specialized thing on alcohol and how people assess alcohol. And of course, I kind of almost specialized in it. And so they brought me over to the chemical dependency side. This is all in the Department of Psychiatry of where I work. And I now run a detox program, it's an outpatient detox program within our chemical dependency department, as well as doing a lot of things. So I more of a success case. I did work in a predominantly male things, and I have to say, there might have been pressures, and I can't say that relationships didn't happen, but I'm gonna knock on proverbial wood here, no, nothing unconsensual. I don't remember any difficulties like that, but I know it's out there. It is definitely out there, and I see it. There are veterans that come to our clinic, and I do see that, and PTSD is a big part of drug problems too. They often are self-medicating themselves, either initially with alcohol or pills, just so they don't feel that pain. And it's not just veterans, it's everybody, but it's a good percentage of veterans so that come through there and everything like that.
And I'll admit, I actually didn't live at home for a while. I had moved to other states, and realizing when my PTSD got too far, I had actually on a whim moved to Oregon, and I OD'd. I was drunk. I wasn't paying attention. I took too many pills, and I OD'd. And I called my mom, and I said, I need help. I need to come home. And I mean, I was lucky I had that ability to say, I need help, I need to come home, because there are people who don't have that. And I turned to pills and drinking and everything, and it's a huge stigma. And
that too.
I mean, we need to help our veterans so they're not just seen as the wife beater, drunks, druggies. They're turning into these things because they don't have the outlets they need.
Yep. So I made it to staff sergeant. I had 9 good years, all active duty. I never did reserve time. I traveled around the country. Actually, I got selected for when we got with the new computer systems. You remember, computers we have now, they're everywhere, but we really didn't have that in the very, very beginning.
No.
So we had gotten a new, I think it was a supply system, something but we did it to track we got it to track our training and track our how many, our weapons, our supplies, and everything that we are for deployment ready, and that we used. I was in called Prime Beef. Well, Base Emergency Engineering Forces, the beef, Prime being number 1. So, and I was in that, and so I got to be very good with that computer system, and I got deployed multiple different places to train everybody else on that system. I had a blast doing it, but I definitely missed my military service. I did go finally, obviously I flipped over to the medical field there. A human being, I tell you, while I enjoyed my job, electricity, you can plan out a building a certain way, you got to use a certain power bus, and I still know all that stuff. But, to the electricians out there, I apologize, but a light bulb is a light bulb is a light bulb. And I know I say that glibly, but I know it's so much different than that, but it wasn't the challenge I needed. A human being, your heart attack is not going to be the same as her heart attack. It's going to be the same as that person's heart attack. It's all different. Your symptoms are going to be different. And so figuring that puzzle out and trying to find, making sure that you don't have a zebra in the middle of the horses is also a challenge, and I enjoy that so much. And the other thing I use to keep myself busy, so you have to understand, I have 4 children. Well, 5 if you couple surrogate kids here and there, but I have 4 biological children. 2 of them have already served. 1 is still at the Air Force Base in Niagara Falls. My daughter, obviously, the Army vet. I'm married to a Navy guy. I have two sons, both of which have served in the Civil Air Patrol. One is out there, but one is still in there. Civil Air Patrol is an auxiliary of the United States Air Force, part of the total force.
Which we're actually doing a fundraiser for this weekend.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so we're doing a fundraiser.
I'm not even aware of that.
So the Civil Air Patrol actually has been around since 1941. Believe it or not, 6 days before Pearl Harbor happened, December 1st, it was signed into law that the Civil Air Patrol existed. It was a bunch of folks who flew planes, who did coastal patrols for U-boats, looking for that, to try to keep our shores safe, because they either couldn't serve in the military or they had already come home and wanted to do more.
Wow.
And that's how we started. And then the cadet program in 1948, we joined the Air Force, became a part of us after it was separated out from the Army, and then it signed into the law, the public law, that we became part of the Air Force in 1948. And then the cadet program also came into being just before then, but got more organized in that. So now Civil Air Patrol, again, if you look it up at gocivilairpatrol.com, it's a live website, and it is it's a youth group with a very large military piece to it, and that is the cadet program, because it is a leadership management. It teaches them all that. They go through the ranks, and they learn how to do things as they go along. We take them flying. They learn about aerospace education. And aerospace education is everything from cloud formations all the way up to lift drag and how the airplane works, and space flight and rocket flights and drones and
yeah, we just got a bunch of drones. We're actually sending a bunch of the senior members, which is what we
to
are.
drone school. Yeah.
To drone school.
That is so cool.
So we have the cadet track, which is 12 to 21, or the senior member track, which is anyone 18 and older.
Yep. And I was a cadet in this organization before I joined the Air Force. So that's how I got my connection to the Air Force Academy. So my husband was also in this organization. We met in this organization, but he was Navy. He was at Norfolk Norfolk Naval Base. Shoot me. I was at Langley Air Force Base. Those guys are separated by a body of water. If it wasn't for the Civil Air Patrol, we would have never met. So, but the Civil Air Patrol is so much more. It's one of the country's best kept secrets.
Yeah.
But it's the leadership potential and those kind of things. So if you got kids out there, if they're interested in aviation, and there's no military service obligation.
Oh yeah.
If they're interested in aviation, how do aircraft work, because we're connected with the mechanics school. So Mohawk Valley around here, I think it's almost Syracuse, has got a aviation mechanics school. They are connected with us, and we kind of put people toward that. They'll give them scholarships.
Yeah,
and
they give like tuition discounts, scholarships, stuff like that.
So
you could think of us
so if
like,
you want to fly planes, work on planes, maybe go to the military, just do something leadership. We do community service all the time, especially with the veterans, but those kind of things.
Are you paying attention to this? So tell me quick. We probably should I can't see how long we've been going, but you're doing a fundraiser for the cadets.
Yes.
If anyone wants to donate, because we're going to have thousands of people watching this, can you tell everybody how you can donate?
Well, so right now we're doing the fundraiser. It's literally a garage sale for the Rochester Composite Squadron, but believe it or not, every squadron takes regular donations, and we all have websites. Now, if you go to gocivilairpatrol.com, put in your zip code, it'll tell you the squadron that's closest to you. If they have a website, it'll also tell you how to click on their website.
Okay.
Our website, we're in Rochester, so we have the Rochester Composite Squadron. We're based at the airport. We meet on Thursday nights, and we also have it's caprcs.org. It's an org. So cap.rcs.org, and it says donate right there. And then if you need to donate, if you would like to donate, they can use, because we need to buy these kids uniforms.
Yeah, but the transition, we're not getting the uniform flux in like we
they
used
keep changing.
to.
Yeah, the military keeps changing the uniform, right? Exactly. So right now we're in the middle of BDUs and ABUs. Okay. But the ABUs are going away, and the BDUs are already phased out. So, in fact, we're supposed to stop wearing the BDUs next year and be all in ABUs, but we haven't found enough ABUs yet, and now they're switching to the other new uniform. So it's we're kind of so anything we can be used
to dress one cadet. It's about
$150.
Yep.
Yeah, it's about
$150,
And
guys. That's nothing.
That's their starting uniform. Yeah. Not to consider these guys growth spurts. We have 3 cadets who are over 6 foot, and they're under 15.
Yes.
Wow.
We have 3 14-year-olds who are 6'1", 6'3", and the other one's 6'4".
Yep.
Wow.
So yeah,
and they're not done growing.
And they're about to grow again. I mean, and boots. Trying to find boots for these poor kids. The big-footedness of this generation is killing us, because I actually one kid's in a 15, and you can't. It's hard to find boots for them. And we're regular black combat boots. We're not even into the sand or colored shoes or anything like that. We're talking about regular black combat boots. But anyway, I've been in this youth organization, so I have had continuous service with this youth organization since 1983, when I joined it as a kid myself.
Wow.
And I joined in 2004 because my mom likes poaching her kids.
All 4 of my kids have been in it. I did not poach. You guys joined out of your own volition. And when one of you didn't want to be in it anymore, they're out. They don't have to be. So it is a completely volunteer organization. We don't get paid anything. We do have honor rank. But one of the things we do is that if you are a sergeant of any type in the military and you don't want to be an officer, you don't have to be. We have a sergeant rank. Okay.
There you go.
We have it. So, but go serve there. Give back to the community in that way. Not you. I'm not saying that as veterans, some of us still want to serve. Some of us still want, but what we get back out of it. This is one of those organizations that you're going to get a ton back for what you give.
That is such a great message. And so I didn't even know we were going to be getting into this, but I just found out about yet another organization. And what I'm doing here and around the country is raising awareness to all the different aspects of being in the military and being a veteran, and all the different organizations you can get involved in, which is really cool. And I think I've taken up enough of your time. I did want to comment, though. I'm getting an education on BDUs, and if you notice on the HeroMobile and some of my images, I use stock photos, so please don't judge me, because I'm not really aware, and the uniforms keep changing. So, and my realtors and loan officers and partners all across the country are using the same images, so it's just that we needed a stock photo, and I couldn't find anybody in real uniform, and they keep changing them. So I want to thank these ladies from the bottom of my heart. Give me your hands. I want to thank you both. I want to shake your hands. I want to thank you both so much for your services. Thanks. And I love your daughter to death. I think she's an incredible woman. And I'm sorry.
You always make me tear up.
I know, I'm making her cry. She's making me cry. But
I'm just grateful to not only get my message out, which was not exactly the most positive thing, but I still love the military, still love my thing. Get the awareness out about SHARP, and then my mom was able to follow it up with something you can do in return.
We send kids, there's no obligation to the military, but we send kids to the military all the time from this organization. In fact, I've got one on track for the Air Force Academy. I have 2 girls getting ready to go in, regular, one's Navy, one's Air Force. And
my best friend that I met in the program, he now flies F-18s for the Navy.
That's true. One of our
cadets. We sent him to the Naval Academy.
Yep.
So guys, it's very important to pay attention to this organization. I'll share the link again through text. And
I'm sorry.
I want to thank you so much. And remember, live your dreams and thank a hero today, and do all that you can do. Thanks so much. God bless. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, I got to turn it off. How? And I have a